In the world of car brands, there are two types, the ones that innovate and flourish, and the brands that do not innovate and slowly start to fall apart. Since Stellantis took over Jeep, the brand has been struggling and slowly but surely heading into its unfortunate demise. Poor management can create a disaster for a successful brand like Jeep, and as of now, things are not looking bright for Jeep. So if you want to learn more about the latest mishaps of Jeep, stay with us while we dive into what in the world is going on at Jeep. French owners do not understand American culture. Now, let's start with the biggest problem with Jeep, and that is its new owners. If you don't know, Jeep is a brand that was previously owned by a company named FCA. FCA owned all of the American brands that are connected to Jeep, including Chrysler, Ram, and Dodge. FCA was basically a corporation composed of Italian brands like Fiat, Alfa Romeo, and Maserati. What's important to know in this case is that FCA didn't put any effort into controlling the American brands and telling them what to do. So we were witnesses to some really cool muscle cars made by Dodge, which was basically a whole new revival of the hot rod culture in the US. But good things didn't last for long. FCA decided to merge with PSA. PSA was comprised of French manufacturers like Peugeot and Citroën. The French, unlike the Italians, want to intervene in how each brand is run and basically destroy everything Americans love. As many car reviewers say, the French do not understand cars at all. Their only interest is profits. They don't understand that some minimal changes in the lineup are basically turning off a lot of the customer base. The latest news is the fact that they want to remove some of the off-road features in the Wrangler to make it more road-friendly. This might be the case, and they will make this model more road-friendly, but since the customer base is composed of off-road enthusiasts, this will have a negative effect. A similar thing is happening at Dodge, a sister brand of Jeep. They ended the production of the Charger and Challenger and released an electric Charger. This is basically something that Dodge buyers have zero interest in buying. A Dodge enthusiast wants that V8 power and the magnificent rumble. With EVs, you don't have that, and this model is reportedly going to become a huge flop. The French obviously don't know what they're doing, and they're destroying good brands. Their ownership of Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep could mean the end of these brands. And these are brands that generate billions in sales and have a long legacy. So the best we can expect is a change of leadership and continuing to do things as they were done before Stellantis. However, this is not expected to become a reality. The French are too controlling and want to have the last word in everything. So it's unclear where Jeep is headed. We don't want to sound too pessimistic, but things are not looking too bright for Jeep and the other brands under this leadership. Stellantis wants to remove the legendary 3.6-liter Pentastar. Now, let's cover another news that's been introduced in recent days, and that's the fact that Stellantis is considering removing the legendary 3.6-liter Pentastar engine from the Wrangler lineup. The Pentastar, an Italian engine design from the times when FCA owned Jeep, is one engine that has been highly regarded among Jeep owners. This 3.6-liter V6 engine is naturally aspirated and produces up to 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. This is decent power for a Jeep, and the power delivery is extremely smooth, making it a perfect engine for off-roading duties. We were saddened to hear the news that Stellantis is planning to remove the engine from the lineup and replace it completely with the 2.0-liter Hurricane. The 2.0-liter Hurricane is a turbocharged engine that is optional over the base 3.6-liter Pentastar. This turbo engine produces more power, standing at 270 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. This change in approach was deemed necessary by Stellantis because of emission standard compliance. As we all know, emission standards are becoming stricter year by year, and this is basically destroying the internal combustion engine. Manufacturers opt to get smaller turbo engines instead of larger displacement engines in order to meet these standards. This is reportedly happening with Jeep, and slowly the 3.6-liter is going to be disposed of. In the end, the 2.0-liter Hurricane will become the only engine option in the lineup. This is sad to hear because the more engines go away, the fewer options for the buyer. Hemi is going away. Now, let's cover another bad news when it comes to the Jeep brand, and that's the fact that the Hemi is going away from this brand as well. The legendary Hemi was not always connected to the Jeep brand, but in the years before Stellantis took over, they decided to include this engine in the lineup. These were the times when Dodge was doing crazy things and introducing some really incredible models. So they also decided to add the 6.4-liter Hemi V8 engine to the lineup with the Rubicon trim. This was easily the most expensive Wrangler that you could get. However, its performance was not very good. This is basically a truck engine that was put into the Wrangler. It was not the 6.2-liter Hemi used in the Hellcat models. A thing that made things worse was the fact that Jeep priced this model extremely high. The 392 Rubicon is easily the most expensive Jeep up to date, costing up to $107,000. So you get the idea why this model was such a failure. The demand for such a vehicle is very low compared to other Wrangler models, and the performance gains are minimal. That's why, except for the nice V8 tone, the brand did not lose a lot from this decision. Whether or not we're going to see a new V8 is highly unlikely. The Jeep brand was also never connected with the V8 anyway, so this change will not cost the brand a lot of its legacy. Quality and reliability went low. Another thing connected with the Stellantis takeover of Jeep is the fact that the quality and reliability of this brand went low. Before Stellantis, Jeep was one of the brands that was extremely highly regarded when it came to the quality of their models, but not anymore. Reportedly, new Jeep models are plagued with problems. New Jeeps and Rams are stuck at dealer shops across the country, even after they came from the production line with 0 miles. Reliability is an aspect that makes a brand so great, and having this loss of quality means that the sales will plummet. Reportedly, in the US alone, the loss of sales was about 18% over the previous year for Stellantis. This is basically billions of dollars in losses. Ram is losing 2% market share in the pickup market, while Jeep is losing sales in the SUV market from competitors like Ford. Things are not looking good for Jeep if they don't fix their quality and reliability issues. Only by doing so can they get back on track and once again become the force that they were 10 or 15 years ago. Till then, we'll wait and see how things will unroll for Jeep. But according to the industry news, things are not looking very bright for Jeep and the other Stellantis brands. Stellantis is looking for a new CEO. To say that things are not looking good for Stellantis would really be an understatement. The net profit in the first half of 2024 was down by 48%. This was reportedly due to the fact that there was weak demand for vehicles. As we noted previously, only in the US market, there was a drop of 16% in terms of sales. Many dealers are furious at the current boss of Stellantis, Carlos Tavares. The American brands are rapidly degrading and basically becoming a laughingstock. Dealers are pissed, and so are buyers with this situation. So Stellantis is looking for a new CEO to replace Carlos Tavares. They will not fire Tavares, whose contract is expiring in 2026. Who this CEO is going to be is not clear yet, but if a European from the PSA group takes over, we can expect things to get even worse than the current situation. One thing is almost certain, and that's the fact that Chrysler, an American icon, will go away. This brand only offers the Pacifica, and it's reported that the brand will get axed in the near future. Price is too high. And the last thing that we have to cover is the fact that even though Jeep sales are going to hell, they're still the most expensive brand in the industry. The Wrangler is expensive, and so is the case with the Gladiator. The Gladiator is more expensive than all of its competitors. This model might offer some off-road characteristics, but the price makes buyers avoid it in the process. In addition to this, other Jeep models like the Wagoneer and the Grand Cherokee are priced way above their market value. With greedy dealers, these vehicles are becoming even more expensive. Dealers are trying to cover their losses due to poor sales and make things even worse. They raised their markup fees and nobody is buying Jeep anymore. Overall, things are not looking so bright for Jeep, and it's expected to be even worse. How worse? Only time will tell.